Hi guys, it's Jen here from Just Jen Cosplay, and today I'm talking to you about strapping. The last I would have shown you for my Skyrim armour would have been all the separate pieces, and I was starting to, sorry I've got the stray hair and that's really annoying me, I'd primed them and sprayed them, so just a little bit of what that looks like now. So this is the, I suppose, breastplate and back, and the shoulders. Both lots have had 2 layers of spray prime at least. Some bits have had 3 because I added this on, so I had to do a little bit more spraying on that one. And then they've also had a coat with a white spray paint. This is obviously my own ability and nothing, probably no reflection at all on the spray paint. You can see as I get better, you get better coverage. But yeah, I'm definitely not very good at the spraying. This is where I started and you can see how patchy it is. So my plan for now is to add a little bit of Velcro here, which will then come somewhere along here. Although I'm going to need to make sure that I get that in exactly the right place because that's what's going to hold it all together. So I'll just do that now. There you go, as you can see, just as simple as it's got a little bit of backing. That's the other side. You take the backing off. It's already pre-stuck, this stuff, so it's just a case of sticking it down. And then I need to put that, as I say, on the other side when I've got it all lined up on my body. As I said, I was quite disappointed with how the spray paint turned out, and probably my fault for buying cheap spray paint and for not being very good at the whole spraying thing. Oh, sorry, it's really shiny. It's shiny? Sunny! It's sunny, which is unusual in the UK. Yeah, so next was connecting it all together. So here's some clips about how I'm going to be attaching it to myself and each of the armour, the pauldrons as well. So here you go. Here are my pauldrons now. I've got a couple of layers of good old gesso on them. The spray paint wasn't great. That's probably more my fault at being a failure and buying cheap spray paint. But anyway, so this is sort of a couple of layers of gesso. A couple of this didn't get sprayed properly, so that's going to have a little bit more. Also going over, I've been able to get into all the nooks and crannies, like in there. She says, not particularly well, but made me more aware of all these little bits. And underneath, painted all of that bit. Figure out how far I need to go. I probably also need to give this at least a bit of a spray, which is the inside of the arm. But just to show you now what I'm going to do to attach them is using some cord. I'm going to basically use them as a counterbalance, so I'll sit on each shoulder. All my rubbish. But to do that, I have got some D-rings. Which will attach. So I've just got a little scraps of warbler. You could use anything, webbing, but I just decided I've got these little bits, which are basically bits of warbler that I re-rolled out of an old costume. They're literally just some scraps I've got. So I'm going to heat them up, bend them round, and then I'll be attaching them on. So as you can see, literally just heated up and pushed around and squeezed together. Nothing fancy, but warbler sticks really well to itself, so it should be pretty sturdy. And then I've got quite a nice space for attaching it to the EVA foam pauldrons. So yeah, there you go, to give you an idea. Just working on connecting the back piece to the front piece. So I've scored some lines in here and heated it with the heat gun. Now I'm waiting for my hot glue to be ready. A cup of tea to drink whilst I'm waiting for it. And then I'll be attaching a piece of webbing here. Once that's stuck into place, I'll be able to estimate how much I need to attach it to the front. And then I'll do the same on the other side. So quite simple. worked really well with the Sylvanas belt by doing it this way. Something that I learned on the Punished Props tutorial, which I'll try and remember to link so that you guys can see it, about how to attach things to each other. But yeah, just scoring in there helps the glue to get in a little bit to the material and adhere a bit better. So I just wanted to show you there. So I've hot glued underneath and stuck it on, then glued all around the outside, and importantly along this edge, which should stop it from moving too much. Just gives it a bit more strength. Yeah. And as you can see, I'm now lining it up. Done the same on the inside of the cup. Just waiting for the hot glue to heat up, and then I'll stick that in there. I've tried it on. It works pretty well actually. I need to hot glue the Velcro onto the sides so it will stay there, because obviously it's so sticky. It sticks to itself and then it almost comes off. But yeah, I can do that whilst I've got the hot glue gun out. Yeah, pretty pleased with how it's going. There we go. So I don't know how well you can see that, but that's the strap. So I just need to glue this one into place. But again, I just need to get it all on properly to make sure that that last one fits fine. But yeah, so there's it. Velcroed on. Velcro. And then yeah, like it just sits on the shoulders like that. Lovely jubbly. Hopefully that was helpful. And just to show you the inside of the pauldrons, so you can see the two bits of warbler all stuck in with glue as well, and then that's the string. So basically, she says, chucking them on the floor. They'll just counteract each other, something like that. I'm also going to add in another strap as well. And apart from being blinded, you can kind of see that's really bad. I can't bother to fix it. That gives you an idea of how they'll look. So again, I'm just going to use on the inside some black webbing. This is 20 mil. Sure, it said 20 mil. Looks like something about a centimetre. No, 2 centimetres. It is, yeah. And there's some buckles that I bought originally for Lady Sylvanas for round the back. So yeah, these work really well for that kind of thing. So again, I'm going to attach one bit with some webbing onto the inside of the pauldron, and one bit probably to the bit that's going to come over here for the breastplate. Don't know if it's still called a breastplate when it's all the way around, because it's not just on the breast, but it's still a breastplate. But yeah, then I can clip that together and it will bring it probably into the right place, or maybe further up on here, because at the moment they're tilting forward a bit too much. I think that's partly because the string keeps them up, but it means that they're sort of maybe pulling into each other a little bit too much. So I've got to have a fiddle around with the length of that. Maybe make it a little bit longer. It might sit slightly better. But yeah, I'm doing well. I've also been pretty lucky that over this weekend, 3 of like the probably 4 main cosplayers that I follow have all been streaming. So that's been fantastic for me, because it's meant I've just been able to sit and watch, and whilst I've been watch, I just have it on my phone whilst I'm then doing my actual costuming and painting. Lots and lots of painting. It's getting dark again now. Oh no, it's still too bright back here. Sorry. I'm sorry. And then I guess just a little bit of a never throw anything away pattern-wise kind of thing. She says, 1 second. These were the patterns that I made for my boots for Lady Sylvanas. So I'd wrap them round to make the lycra, or 4-way stretch fabric, whatever you want to call it, booties. And I'm doing something similar with this build, except they'll be slightly shorter, but I can still use the same pattern and just cut it lower here. Probably needs to come to about here. I might do it like that. Yeah, so it just means that I don't have to waste more cling film So yeah, you can, I'd always say tracing these up onto something more permanent can work really well, especially if there's like, you've got a pair of shoes that you're always going to use, or obviously like breastplates and stuff. If you're always going to be wearing the same bra, not so much an issue for men, then you can do one trace, do like one pattern, and then you can use that as like for if you're always going to be making this sort of thing. Obviously you'll then need to do it again and again for if you need like little details and bits and things, but it just saves you having to keep doing it. Obviously, unless you change shape, if you put on weight or lose weight or tone up a bit more, which is what I do need to do, then yeah, you can just keep using it. What did I say? The string that I've used to connect them was paracord, and I've got them in 31 meters of it. So it cost me a few quid. I don't think it was particularly expensive, but it just means that I can use this again and again and again for that kind of stuff, and it's just generally quite helpful, I think, for these kinds of things. I might use it for the braces. If I use the if I punch holes in it, I can thread the bracer through and then tighten it up, sort of almost like a corset for my arm. Corset for my arm. There we go. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, you can let me know and I'll try and answer you. Let me know if it is helpful, because I love to hear that. I've now had 3 separate people say that they found my Lady Sylvanas bits useful. So that's fantastic, really, because that's why I'm doing it. I'm doing it for you, to encourage people, because it's just so much fun. I love it. I spend so much time just sat in my craft room painting and what have you. So yeah, it's a hobby that I'd highly recommend to anybody who is, certainly anybody who's creative, because I love making things. I always have, but I guess I've always made bits and pieces, and I've always thought, well, what do I then do with this thing that I've made? I made a felted lampshade. Don't get me wrong, it's lovely because I made it. Obviously, it's fantastic. But what do I do with it now? It's one of those things, you can't put it on like a candle, and it's sort of freestanding. The idea was you can get the battery operated like little tea lights, and then you put that in it, and it looks cool. But I don't have anywhere to put it. So that's the kind of stuff, I guess, that have issues with when you're crafting. It's what do I do with it then? So I'm hoping that Lady Sylvanas I'll probably never sell, ever, in a million years. Maybe, if I offered enough money. Whereas I'm kind of hoping that because this other one's out of EVA foam, it's going to be easier to fit somebody else. Of course, Warbler just has no movement. EVA foam does. So unless somebody has exactly the same proportions as me, and I am a weird shape, having found out, I'm trying to buy myself a mannequin, and I'm a weird shape. I'm not a real size 10. I'm not a real boy. So yeah. What else? It's my birthday at the end of the month, so I am asking for, unless somebody can afford it, money towards getting an airbrush. So hopefully that will really help me, because I've definitely spent a huge amount of time, again, painting and 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 painting. And as you can see, like, these are looking fairly good now, but you can still see here. Can you see that? I think you can see that it's just needs more and more and more layers. And part of that is because of me and my bad spray painting technique. I just think I picked the wrong type of spray paint. I'm sorry, I fucked up. Sorry, my fault. Should have been if I hadn't spent, like, now probably another 10 hours, I'm going to go with, over this weekend, because yeah, I've been paint a bit here, And obviously you've got to wait for each layer to dry, so not even including that time. Let's say 5 hours then, with no drying time. Yeah, it must be. Really, sorry, that's awful. Painting and painting and painting and painting. Then obviously I could have got on with other bits. So hopefully by next week I will have the boots to show you. I hope. That's going to be my plan. That's what I'm going to aim for. And then it's the braces to make. And then it is the skirt thing. I don't know what else to describe it as. But I feel like I'm getting there now. If I can get the breastplate and the pauldrons done, that's like the top half sort of done. And the other thing that I do need to do is to buy some like nude leggings. A lot of what I've been reading has suggested dancers' trousers because they are skin tight and they look like, effectively the idea is to look like I'm not wearing anything, but it just means if there are any mishaps then and anything comes away from where it's supposed to be then yeah, I should have a contingency rather than everybody just seeing my pants. Panties! I think that's everything I've got to share. I'm sorry. I waffle so much. But I hope you enjoy it. So, yeah. Questions, queries, comments, whatever you like to say, please say. Yeah, if you like what I'm doing, then give me a like, subscribe, and please do share me with your friends if there's something that, like, you know, a few of you have found great and useful, and please tell me, because then I'll keep doing these. Otherwise I might just be like, oh, I'm gonna give up because nobody cares. But just want to say thank you. I've got like 30 subscribers and I love you all. You're amazing subscribing to me. I think it's fantastic. Yeah, okay, I'm never going to be like Jessica D agrees over 1 million subscribers, etc. But I hope that I can be as useful and hopefully, I guess, inspiring to you 30 people as she has been to me. And I know a lot of people don't like her and think she's only famous because boobs, but watching her videos on YouTube and various things that she puts on Facebook and Twitter, etc., made me feel like anyone could be a cosplayer. Didn't matter who you were or what you wanted to do, or if you just wanted to prance around in a bikini and say, hey, I'm Pikachu, or whatever, then you could. And I love that inclusive nature. There's no... I believe she puts out fantastically skilled costumes, and then she also does this sort of more goofy, fun stuff. And it's almost saying that this is a scale. Cosplay is anything in between this. Cosplay is anything from I put a wig on and I pretend to be somebody else, all the way through to, you know, wearing bikinis, and then building full armour builds and having pauldrons that are bigger than your head. Bigger than your head. And all of it's cosplay and all of it's fun, and yeah, remember, cosplay is play. Don't just focus on the costume like I did and fail miserably when you go into a competition. Play, have fun, enjoy it. Enjoy each other, have fun, make groups, and yeah. Have a great week, guys, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye.